Hello and welcome to Overdrive. Today we are in Bhopal, the city of lakes, and we are going to dive right in to the Kia Sonet, the updated, facelifted model. With its sharper design and a host of new features, it asks a very important question. Is it still the best buy in the segment? Let's find out. The Kia Sonet burst onto the scene in 2020, quickly establishing itself as a frontrunner in the sub-compact SUV segment. Its bold design and modern features turned heads, gave it an excellent head start. Nothing fishy about it. The Sonet has become that popular on the basis of its merit. But today, the Tata Nexon is back stronger than ever. The Hyundai Venue challenges the sportier side of the Sonet with the N line, and the Brezza continues to sell in big numbers. So you see, the market or the segment has become more challenging than ever. And then there are the Renault Kiger and the Nissan Magnite that have lowered the price points for this segment. But step inside the Sonet, the cabin instantly wins you over. Kia has once again loaded the cabin of the Sonet with technology and comfort features, which sets it in a different class. It's the kind of difference that elevates it above other entry-level cars like the Renault Kiger or the Nissan Magnite. Some bits do feel plasticky, but the design is premium and one that justifies the price difference. Depending on the trim level, you get 5 options for cabin colors and upholstery. It's a level of customization usually seen in luxury cars 4 times the price. Even in its own realm, the Sonet continues to impress. You see, the Korean cars are usually quite feature-packed, and the Sonet pushes that envelope further. Its own sibling, the Venue, is quite feature-packed too. It's brimming with features. But then this again has a little bit of that upper hand with stuff like the 10.25-inch screen, the 360-degree cameras, and also the 3-step ventilated cooling function for the front seats. The infotainment system is intuitive, providing seamless access to navigation, entertainment, and connectivity options. Is the best in the segment and now features visual car tracking and hinglish voice commands.
Sunroof खोलो, sunroof बंद करो.
Don't forget to check them out on our Instagram at ODMag. The touchscreen has newer software and the display is more responsive than its rivals from Suzuki and Tata. Kia claims best-in-class reliability with the Sonet, and that's backed with a lot of surveys. In fact, even our long-term use with the Sonet, the previous one, aligns with that fact. At the same time, I know the Tata Nexon will hit back at the Sonet with better safety ratings, etc. But then, even in that safety space, the new Sonet really has some good stuff going for it, like all 4 disc brakes. Then you have the blind view monitor, which is available for both the left and the right side. And you also get level 1 ADAS functionality. How all of that translates on the global or Bharat NCAP ratings remains to be seen. The ADAS functionality on this car uses a system very similar to Honda's, which means that it doesn't have radars. It uses a camera to detect cyclists, pedestrians, other vehicles on the road, or even lane markings for that matter. And then it will give you a host of level 1 ADAS functions. Now, you already heard those beeps. It reads the lane markings very nicely, even on some of the B roads, like the one that I'm driving on right now. However, it's just a bit too intrusive. It will constantly keep giving you those nudges on the steering. It will constantly try to pull you back into your lane, and that can get a little unnerving on narrow roads like these. These aren't really roads that are very wide, so it's very often that you are having to sort of stray away from your lane, stray into the other lane every now and then, maybe to overtake a two-wheeler, maybe to negotiate something that's lying in the middle of the road, some hurdle here and there. And that is where this becomes a bit too intrusive. You have to use the turn blinker every now and then, even for making these slight bit of corrections while driving, and that can get a bit annoying. Here's a quick look at the safety features on offer with the Sonet. The Brezza scores low on safety but scores high on practicality, and then the Sonet hits back at the Brezza with stuff like best-in-class boot space. You also get a powered driver's seat, 4-way powered. Memory seating with this would have helped because, typically these kind of cars are also shared with the spouse, maybe sometimes with the parents. So memory function for these seats would have been an additional extra, and that would have been amazing. You also get rear window blinds. I think that is very important in a country like ours. Kia has also optimized the space at the rear by giving you 30mm extra knee room by making this little scoop in the front seats. Now this front seat is set to my driving preference, so knee room is not the best, of course. They've also given you 21mm of additional under-thigh support, so that's for better comfort. That said, I find the rear seats of the Sonet to be good enough only for city commutes. Long distance commutes or long distance drives in this, not very comfortable. I'm not a big fan of the angle of the seating. I'm not even a big fan of the way the contouring is done. It's a bit, I don't know, something's amiss. Not very comfortable.
The Sonet's cabin has always been a cozy one, and that doesn't change with the facelift. However, the lighter colors that are being offered on some of the trims impart a roomier feel. Modern touches include a rear seat back pocket for the phone, USB-C ports, and improvements to the air purification system. There is a new valet mode too, like the Volkswagen Tiguan. It will limit the chauffeur's access to the infotainment system, but I really wished it allowed to set speed limits and geofencing as well.
If you're in the market for electric vehicles, this is your stop. Because you'll now need to look at reviews of the Tata Nexon EV or the Mahindra XUV 400. The Sonet still continues to get only internal combustion engines, but it's quite a tasteful selection.
For those with short daily commutes, the 1.2-litre petrol is adequate. It has decent fuel economy, but it isn't very punchy. It can only be had with a 5-speed manual transmission, which has a fairly light clutch.
If you would rather have a petrol automatic, in that case you need to go with the 1-litre turbo petrol. That gives you the option of the 7-speed DCT. That's the one that I'm driving right now. But at the same time, remember, it's a more powerful engine. It's also more sensitive to throttle inputs. So fuel economy can sometimes take a hit if you're not driving in a gingerly manner. Sometimes it can even drop down to single digits. But at the same time, the responsive nature of that engine or the quick gearbox, it will keep the enthusiast happy. And if you would rather want to shift gears yourself, you also have the option of a 6-speed IMT, which lets you shift the gears without the need to work the cumbersome clutch.
A similar IMT or clutchless manual transmission is available on the diesel engine as well, alongside other options like a 6-speed auto or a conventional 6-speed manual, though the clutch pedal will get a bit springy on it.
Despite all the uncertainties surrounding diesel, the diesel engine lives on, and I'm glad, because that would be my pick with the 6-speed automatic. It's got a much better punch, it's got better fuel economy, the overtakes come in much quicker, and you also get the reliability and the convenience of that 6-speed torque converter. But if diesel is not an option for you, if you would only choose from the petrols, then I would still go with the 1-litre turbo petrol. Like I said, it's a little down on fuel economy compared to the standard. But if you were to drive properly, if you were to use the turbo to your advantage, you can have fun and at the same time get decent fuel economy figures as well. Getting about 12 to 13 kilometers per litre shouldn't be too difficult.
These Korean powertrains in the Venue or the Sonet outclass the competition in refinement. Regardless of the powertrain, the Sonet maintains a poised and confident demeanor, whether navigating city streets or cruising on the highway. It's good fun around winding roads too, especially the turbo petrol with the paddle shifters.
The Sonet has always positioned itself as the sportier car from this segment, and that really doesn't change even with the facelift.
Different driving modes alter the engine's behavior, coupled with a taut suspension setup that gives the car a confident poise around the bends.
The ride and handling is still comparable to the Venue N-Line. That means it is still on the firmer side. I know there have been a lot of you asking for a softer suspension setup with the Sonet, but that's not happening. Kia wants to safeguard the essence of what its brand is and how its cars are supposed to feel, and that is shown in the Sonet as well. So you don't really have a softer setup in any of the trim levels. But if you want a cushy ride, if that is your priority, then you're better off with the Tata Nexon.
The new Nexon is also quite good looking after that facelift. While the facelift given to the Sonet isn't as extreme as the Tata, it brings a sleeker look.
With the kind of treatment that is given to the bumpers, the headlights, the taillights, the Sonet now appears wider than before. It's the same size, but the way the design elements have been laid out, it just appears broader. Especially when you look at it approaching in your rearview mirror, it looks really good. In fact, I won't be surprised if the uninitiated people will actually mistake these cars to be the new Seltos.
Matte black on the Sonet X line would be my pick if I was buying. The bold and premium stance of this car comes out more strongly in the darker colors, and the floating C-pillar, sculpted lines and the signature tiger nose grille still manage to attract a lot of attention. Furthermore, the smaller design elements like the fog lamp, the skid plates and the lighting signatures, which change as per your Tech, GT or X-line choices, adds further sophistication. That makes the Kia Sonet appealing to a wider range of customers. So in conclusion, the Kia Sonet remains a well-rounded and compelling option in the sub-4 meter SUV segment. When it came out in 2020, Kia threw the kitchen sink at it, and bettering a product like that isn't easy. But they've done it. The Sonet not only meets the demands of the modern driver, but exceeds expectations, solidifying its position as the best buy in the segment.